A few days ago, I played Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, and one of my friends they just cast jump to triple their jump distance, and then they said, "Okay, so how far can I jump now? How does that work?" Now, as someone who's played D&D for quite a while, and I explained it to him, um, and he was confused because he couldn't understand the fact that even though his jump distance was further than his speed limited how far he could move in a turn. And after having that explained to him multiple times, he finally understood and he was disappointed. He was like, I just wasted my action casting a spell to increase my jump distance, and I can't even jump far, right? And I, as someone who's played D&D for a long time, I understand why these rules are in place. But I've had multiple people, when confronted with these rules, explain their dissatisfaction with these rules. They don't like them. They don't like that they're limited in that way, with magic even. So that got me thinking about my own system. How would I implement jumping in my own system? And then I had to look at my movement system, which at the time I was still using a grid-based system for my TTRPG. And this grid-based system, similar to D&D, you can move a few squares using an action point instead of having a speed. But, I looked at jumping. I brainstormed a bit, probably like, oh, you use your might, you can jump a certain distance with that might, and you take an action to do it or something, right? But at that point, that is just the move action, but jumping. And I found that unnecessary, not very intuitive, because either the jump action will be better than your move action because you've got a high might, and then every might character will just become a frog jumping instead of moving, right? So I didn't like that. So instead, what I decided to do was just, okay, so jumping is just movement that is limited in a certain way, but it allows you to cross gaps. So it's situational movement. So your might will determine how far you can jump, and then whenever you move with your move action, you can just say, I can move this far with my move action, so I want to jump over this gap with that move, right? Because I can jump this far. And then let's say a chasm is more than 3 meters, because you can only move 3 meters with an action, then you can just use 2 action points to jump over the gap, right? And I thought, that was already a step in the right direction. I felt I was satisfied, and I left it at that for the day. And then I was like, I thought back to it, and I was like, I just don't like the grid-based movement in D&D because it slows down the game so much. I was like, whenever I play Theater of the Mind and I completely throw away the grid, I'm just like, the player asks me, how far away is that enemy? And I tell them, you can reach him with your movement. And they are happy. Or I say, you can't reach them with your movement, or unless you dash, right? Okay, then they're like, okay, I'll dash to him, sure. Or they won't dash to him, they'll instead throw a weapon at them, I don't know. But it just, bam, 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 like, action, like, question, answer, do the thing, instead of, let me see, so I'm here, if I move here, then I use 15 movement, and I can do this, and then, like, sure, some people, a lot of people, even me, I enjoy that little nitty-gritty calculations to do optimal turns, but there are a lot of people who struggle with that, and you're just waiting forever for someone to take their turn based on the movement, instead of the Theater of the Mind where turns take like 2 seconds with less information. With the battle map, you have all the information in front of you, and then people still take a long time, and then with Theater of the Mind, you have no information, yet you take like turns in 2 seconds. And it's like, so I was like, I gotta somehow adapt this for my system, because it is so much more fun to just keep the momentum going, stay in the action. So I decided, let's get to work. Let's figure out a system. Let's take some inspiration from other systems, maybe. So I looked into With Daggerheart's release recently, that inspired me a lot. So I looked into that, and I know that Daggerheart isn't the first one to do the zone based system, whatever they call it. Where it's like, you have near, or you have like close, you have near, you have far away, distant, whatever. I don't know what they call it, but they have these zones, and it's just like, oh, that thing. The DM can just say, oh, that is far away. Okay, so I wanna move closer. All right, you're able to move this, this far, and now instead of it being far away, is now close to you, right? Oh, so now it's close to me. I can throw my weapon to hit it, right? So that is already much faster than trying to calculate exact numbers of feet. In my mind at least. So I decided to go with that. I worked a bit and gave it my own little doodads here and there and see where it goes. But yeah, so I've been working on that, and I'll be developing it. I'll be trying to convert all of my features, all my abilities, all my weapons into this new movement system with these new distances, and I think it'll make things a lot more streamlined. Thank you for listening to my ramble or something. I don't know.